In the minds of many, Florida is the ultimate retirement spot. It's the place where all the magic happens. It's the place where there's warm weather. There's no state income taxes. And the cheap cost of living has drawn millions and millions of people to actually move here. But now, some are falling into that Florida trap. And nothing seems to be done about it. Florida has changed a lot. It's no longer the old Florida that we remember from the 1980s or 1990s, or even just a few years ago. Today, many are finding that the joy is gone, and it's literally turned into one big cluster. Now, I didn't believe it until I saw it for myself, and I'm going to share with you what it used to be like and what it is now. Many Florida retirees are struggling with the cost of living. The hurricanes that are repeated, and the repeated hurricane evacuations, and then the packing up, and the scurrying with all the other people at the same time, and then the long lines for gas, and then the traffic, and all this evacuation stuff really gets old quick. Now, even cheap condos are now a bottomless money pit. With sky-high insurance costs, homeowners insurance crises in Florida is out of control. And buying a home now, home prices have increased 138% from 2014 to 2024. And for many, the fun is gone, and now the reality of living in Florida starts to set in. I'm here on location to show you what's really going on in Florida, and also show you what residents are now choosing as an alternative to Florida. Now, this is the stuff that's happening, and this is the stuff that you need to really be aware of so that you can avoid those pitfalls that are costly. So give me a thumbs up if you're good with that. Number one, the high cost of living. Now, despite the fact that Florida has no state income tax, many residents are telling me it feels like it's a trap. And the overall cost of living, especially in housing, has been increasing. And Florida's been identified as one of the least affordable states due to skyrocketing housing costs and insurance rates. Home insurance in particular has seen significant price increases. These hikes are making homeownership much, much more expensive. Number two is natural disasters. Now, we all know that Florida is prone to hurricanes, but there's all kinds of other risks to other severe weather events. Florida is now named the #1 state in the nation for lightning strikes. Yep. Florida is the perfect breeding ground for all kinds of crazy lightning because there's 3 ingredients. That's heat, humidity, and 2 breezes that are coming from 2 coasts on either side. That's one on the west and one on the east. And this alone affects insurance costs and poses physical threats to many residents. But the big kahuna, it's not the crazy lightning strikes, guys. We all know that Florida is the #1 state in the nation for hurricanes. So in the aftermath of hurricanes, when you're evacuated, when everyone else did, and then they say it's all clear and you can come back home and you get in long lines and you're dealing with traffic and no electric power and the cleanup and dealing with unscrupulous contractors for repairs and then fighting with your insurance company and just to get paid on that policy that you paid for. I mean, some retirees, they didn't realize it was going to be all this work and how often it actually happens. Number 3 is FEMA flood map concerns. Now, regular extreme weather conditions, they've led to a lot of concerns about long-term livability. But even if you're not living near the coast, your quality of life, it can get turned upside down. Now, when you bought that home, it was supposed to be high and dry, no problems, right? But when FEMA updates this flood map, which it regularly does, guys, your previous non-flood zone property is suddenly designated within a flood zone area. Now, this is going to significantly impact you, just like the mandatory purchase of additional flood insurance that you're going to have if you have a mortgage. And the cost of flood insurance premiums is going to increase. It's not going down in value. Your property values, they're going to get impacted. And the resale value could take another hit. And then regular insurance policies will probably change. And then you're going to have this overlay on building regulations and additional renovation regulations. Once FEMA designates your property within this special flood hazard area, which is called an SFHA, even if you're just within 1% chance of flooding, it's going to be hard to fight, and it's going to be very hard to get it removed from this designation. Number 4 is traffic and urban sprawl. Now, if you didn't know, the rapid population growth in Florida has compounded the traffic congestion and urban sprawl. And in many areas, especially around the tourist spots like major cities in Orlando and Miami, they suffer from heavy traffic at all hours of the day. And this unmanaged expansion has led to widespread cities, all spread out all over town because traveling from one side of town to the other is a total cluster. More time in traffic, more time in lines at stores, standing in line at restaurants, and more time waiting in doctor's offices. Number 5, cultural and social issues. Now, there's a noted divide between the state's culture, and some are feeling that the influx of wealthier individuals has really changed the community dynamics in a lot of neighborhoods. Now, this has led to the sense of displacement among long-term residents and a total shift in the culture. Number 6 is the insurance and healthcare. Now, the cost of both home and car insurance here in Florida is among the highest in the country. And this is primarily due to the natural disaster risk. Now, additionally, there are many healthcare facilities, but the numbers of aged population is actually putting a strain on Florida's healthcare system. And this has been a concern, particularly among those who are moving from states with different healthcare policies and options and even lower costs. Now, many senior citizens have complained about the long wait that they have to get an appointment with a doctor. Number 7 is quality of life. I mean, sure, Florida can feel great in the winter months, but the issue becomes completely different in the spring, summer, and fall. That's when Florida has extreme heat, which is particularly oppressive to some, and it affects daily life, comfort, and especially during those power outages. And then there's the pests, and I'm not talking about the bugs and the alligators, guys. Some people complain that it's really divisive political environment in Florida. And some people are completely disillusioned after they've moved here. Number 8, public services. Now, there's some criticism about public services, and that includes the education and transportation in the state. Now, there's people who have moved here from Chicago or New York or LA, and they argue that public schools in certain areas, they just don't meet expectations. And don't expect any public transportation unless you move to Miami or a big city, because car ownership, it's pretty much mandatory with everything being so far spread apart. Number 9 is regulatory and development issues. Now, overdevelopment and regulatory issues, particularly in rural areas, are turning extensions of larger cities. And it's not just the cost of Florida that have gone and become the issue. Now Orlando is expanding beyond the boundaries in Polk County, and it's led to concerns about being lost and swallowed up into the crowd or dissolved into a sea of people, which leads us to number 10. Number 10, crowding and population density. Now, the state's popularity has led to overcrowding in certain areas, reducing the appeal of what was once seen as a quieter, more relaxed lifestyle. And this has been especially noted in posts on other videos here on this channel. Now, many residents mention being overwhelming amounts of traffic and a total transformation from what was once rural, small town areas into congested, urban-like environments. Florida has changed a lot. Now, believe it or not, the dream of owning a home has actually become a financial shock for many. And it's not just Florida. The soaring costs are pushing people out of Florida, of course, but also New York and California and many of the other big states. Now, many viewers here on this channel, they have told me that given the chance, if they had to do it again, they would think twice about moving where they currently live. If you're planning your next move or you're considering retirement, this is the time to be wise. Don't let your life savings vanish in an instant. Keep an open mind, because there are states and other areas where you're really less likely to face natural disasters, where taxes are lower, where healthcare is excellent, where the weather is just right. I mean, it's not too hot and it's not too cold. Plus, there's plenty to keep you entertained. So I want you to discover those alternate areas. So if you're still deciding on making a move, just pick up the phone and give us a call at 843-839-9870. I know you have questions and we have answers. This is what we do every single day, and we're here to help you to avoid those pitfalls that are costly. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Put it down in the comments below. Look, I'll do my best to read as many of them as I can, but I hope you're enjoying more videos like this, because if you hit that like button and you subscribe, I just want to say thank you so much. And until next time, take care, guys.